Hello, listeners. This is Kat, and welcome back to Put Your Hands Up Podfics. This will be the continuation of Little Acts of Kindness. This will be Part 43, Chapter 43, entitled Hosu. Izuku groaned as he woke up to the third day of his internship. Everything hurt. Yesterday, the older hero had added the wrist weights, and Izuku could barely move. At least Gran Torino allowed him to use 1% of One For All to help move. It gave him the strength he needed to move, but it was at a normal pace instead of faster. They had spent yesterday doing all sorts of insane training, from Gran Torino sparring him to the older hero throwing pointy objects at him to dodge. How was this training allowed? And now he would have to do it all again, despite how sore he was. Izuku barely had time to even think, and when he did have time, he was too sore and too tired to think properly. All he could do was follow the instructions given to him and hope that Gran Torino was actually helping him. "Stop lazing around," the hero yelled, throwing something at him. Izuku rolled to the side, eyes widening as he scrambled to get up, as the hero started throwing more things at him. Once he was fully standing up, the hero stopped and grinned. "Good. That's the sort of improvement I like to see." Huh? Izuku questioned, looking at his mentor confused. "Exactly. You didn't even notice that you activated One For All." Izuku's eyes widened, and he looked down to see the quickly becoming familiar green streaks of lightning covering his body. He hadn't even thought about activating it. When he was attacked, he just used it on instinct. Gran Torino smirked. "This is exactly what I was wanting to achieve. Using One For All should be an extension of your body, not something you have to concentrate on. Get dressed in your civilian clothes. We're heading out. You may also take the weights off." Confused, he did as instructed, soon exiting the room wearing a brown t-shirt that said casual shirt and a pair of jeans. Without even breakfast, they were heading out. They walked for a good half hour before the hero led him into an IHOP. The hero encouraged him to get whatever breakfast he wanted, and so Izuku ordered the chocolate chip pancakes with French toast. They ate in silence, the older hero not saying anything. After they finished and Gran Torino paid, they left, and Izuku followed the hero, who was carrying a bag, but Izuku didn't know what was in it. It was another hour of walking before the hero led them into what looked like a hot spring. He paid and grinned. "We're going to relax for a little bit today, before we head out to begin the next phase of your internship, so here." Gran Torino lifted the bag up. "Get changed." The bag was handed over to him, and Izuku opened it to find a swim trunk and a towel. Changing, he entered the hot spring. Instantly, the warm water began to take effect, and he closed his eyes, letting out a little sigh of relief. The hot water was a relief to his sore muscles that ached from the constant strain they had been under the past couple of days. They spent a few hours relaxing before getting out, and Gran Torino led Izuku back up to the apartment complex. "All right. You showed me some of your analysis of quirks, and you've had a couple of days to see mine. So I want you to analyze me. If you would prefer to write it out, you can." Izuku nodded and started writing out everything he knew and theorized about the hero's quirk and fighting style, incorporating things Nezu had taught him, weaknesses and stuff. After he finished, he handed it over to Gran Torino. The older hero snorted. "Kid, I can't read whatever code you're using." Izuku blinked. Sorry, Nezu." "I'm gonna cut you off there. I already figured the rat got his paws on you. You probably had a practical lesson or two with him already, yeah? Let me guess. Jim Zeta." Green eyes widened as he nodded, surprised that the older hero knew that. "The rat was a teacher while I was a teacher there, and I saw how he trained his students. The signs are recognizable, plus Toshinori told me that Nezu's been training you." Oh. "Read what you wrote, kid." So Izuku did, spending the next 10 minutes going over his notes, his theories, and then having Gran Torino explain things that he got wrong or right. They spent the next few hours discussing quirk analysis, the older hero only giving a few clues and telling Izuku to create solutions or answers based on limited information, also within a certain time limit, or the older hero would whack him. As evening started to fall, the hero stood up. "All right, it's time to head out for your actual internship, aka Phase 2 of my plan to whip you into shape, which means hunting down villains. Go get into your hero outfit and follow me." Izuku rushed into the room, getting changed before coming back out. "Putting yourself solely against me would leave you with a bunch of bad habits and expectations. So we're going to throw you against a bunch of different types of villains so you're prepared to deal with different situations. Remember, this experience is to help you get used to One For All, so only use that quirk. If I think you need to use one of your other quirks, then I'll give you permission. But One For All should be enough for whatever minor villains we come across." Gran Torino hailed down a taxi and the two got in. "It's a little far from here for where we're going. Population is going down around here, so the crime rate's low. It's also another reason why there's so many hero agencies in big cities, because they have a denser population, which means more crime. Which is why we're heading to Shibuya, since minor crimes are a dime a dozen over there.
We're taking the bullet train there, then?
Yep, Torino answered, which meant they would be passing by Hosu, where Ida was interning. Izuku wondered how the other boys' internship was going. Soon they were getting on the train and it was taking off. Their journey would take several hours. Hey, kid. Toshinori mentioned you wanted to be an underground hero, right?
Izuku nodded.
Did he tell you that I was an underground hero?
Izuku shook his head. No, but that would explain why I didn't find any information when I searched you up.
Ha! Yeah, I'm not surprised. I never was one for the whole flashy showbiz like Toshinori. As an underground hero, you will be often working at night, which means we should be arriving at Shibuya around the right time to really have some fun. Izuku checked his phone and saw a few messages have been sent on the group chat, his classmates claiming how much they were learning on their various internships. Looking out the window, he saw they were passing by Hosu. A distant explosion rang out, and the train screeched to a stop, an announcement being made. Passengers, please remain seated. We're making an emergency stop. The air seemed as still. A loud crash, and then there was a hole in the side of the train as the hero struggled to stand up. Immediately, civilians were starting to panic. Smoke cleared, and standing in the hole of the train was something Izuku had hoped to never see again. A Nomu. Absent-mindedly, his hand went to his chest where the scar he got from Shigaraki lay. Stay there, kid, Torino yelled out, bouncing out of his seat and ramming into the Nomu. Izuku launched himself to the edge of the train, looking out over the city for his mentor. Already the hero and Nomu were gone from sight, but the city was clearly in a desperate state as explosions rang out around the city, smoke rising up as the sun set in the background. Izuku bit his lip. Gran Torino had told him to stay here, but he was a hero, wasn't he? He should be out helping people. If that thing really was a Nomu, as strong as the one that had attacked the USJ, then the whole city was in danger. He needed to warn the local heroes to get Gran Torino back up. Maybe he should find Ida, the class president who has been here for a few days. He should be able to help Izuku spread the word around. Though, with the explosions going on, they could already be aware of the danger, or maybe a second attack was going on simultaneously. Whatever it was, he needed to team up and figure out where he could help. With that in mind, he took off using 5% of One for All, dashing through the city towards the center of the commotion. As he arrived, he was greeted with chaos. Multiple Nomu-looking creatures were attacking and heroes were struggling against them. Tenya! Oh, how could he run off at a time like this? A voice called out. One Izuku recognized as Manuel, the normal hero, also Ida's mentor. Ida ran off? That wasn't like the class president at all. Hosu was being attacked by Nomu. Ida would be helping out, not running off, not unless he was told to, which he clearly wasn't. Ida's brother had been in Hosu and had been injured by the hero killer. The hero killer. Eyes widening, he turned and left, taking to the roofs and jumping around, looking through alleyways for Ida. If the boy had found the hero killer, then he was in danger. Izuku had to help his classmate. It took longer than he would like, but eventually he found the alleyway with Ida in it. The taller boy was on the ground, bleeding from his arm with the hero killer raising a sword up, about to finish the boy off. Izuku rushed in, pushing One for All further to the limit as he punched Stain in the face. Ida, I'm here for you, Izuku said, standing defensively in front of his classmate. Midoriya. I'm glad I found you in time, Izuku said. But why? Because I realized you might be in trouble. I have to help you. Izuku glanced around, seeing how Stain seemed to be staring at him, letting him speak for now. Maybe trying to judge how much of a threat he was. Whatever the reason was, Izuku was glad he wasn't immediately attacking. Focusing, he pulled out his phone behind his back and quickly asked, Can you move? No, I can't move. He cut me, that's most likely his quirk. Izuku frowned and he noticed another hero leaning against the wall, injured, but he was breathing, at least for now. If it had just been Ida, he might be able to grab him and run away, but the other hero was injured as well, and Izuku doubted he could carry both. This has nothing to do with you, Ida cried out. Don't interfere, run away. Stain tilted his head. A friend shows up and says I have to help you. A good line for sure, but it is my duty to kill these two. And if we're forced to fight, then naturally, the weaker of us will be culled. So what now? The hero killer said, grinning eyes lit up with a sort of fire. Izuku pressed send and hoped that he clicked all the right buttons to send his GPS location to the group chat. He had only a hunch, but he should have convinced one of the pros to come with him looking for the hero killer and Ida. Now, I defend those who need my help, even if my life is forfeit, Izuku said, meeting the gaze of the hero killer. He was a hero to help people, not for the fame, not to be able to use his quirk, but only to help. Should he die, saving even one life? Then he did his job. No! I told you to run! This is none of your business! Izuku frowned. It might not be my business, but a hero helps, even when it's not wanted. Stain's grin turned even wider. You, kid. What's your hero name? Izuku swallowed, looking at the hero killer. He could feel that the hero killer was judging him. He took a breath and met the villain's gaze and said, with more confidence than he felt, Ark, the helping hero. Well then, Ark. Show me your conviction. Izuku dashed forward, ducking underneath the swing of the long blade from Stain. Izuku immediately jumped as the hero killer whirled around, blade slashing where he had been moments ago. 8%. Detroit smash, Izuku thought as he punched down, the hero killer's head moving up and looking at him. He could see the blade moving, and he twisted his body even as his punch hit Stain, who flew back a couple feet. Both took a moment to stand up, and Izuku watched in horror as Stain's long tongue flicked out across the blade, licking it. As soon as that lick happened, Izuku collapsed to the ground, unable to move. A scratch? Glancing at his arm, he saw a tiny cut, one he could barely even feel, and it was somehow enough to paralyze him. Eyes widening, he realized it must be the blood. The hero killer looked at him. You lack power, but you did track my movements. You exploited my blind spot and planned to bring me down. That's how you moved. So many fools out there, nothing but talk. But you are worth keeping alive, unlike these others. Izuku stared desperately as the hero killer walked past him towards Ida. He tried desperately to move, to call up One for All, voice, erasure, anything, but it seemed Stain's quirk paralyzed quirks as well. He could do nothing to delay the hero killer any longer. The sword raised up, glinting silver in the last of dying sunlight, and then with a blur of movement, something wet splattered against his face. All right, listeners, this concludes Chapter 43 of Little Acts of Kindness. I really like how the author writes these chapters for Hosu. I'm eager to hear your thoughts and reactions as well. Chapter 44 will be up next, and as always, thank you so much for listening.